Thank you everyone for being here, even you, Ryan Hennessy. Um, week 1 is here, and UAB opens the season with Alcorn State this Thursday night at 7 p.m. So with that, I'll turn it over to Coach Dilfer.
Well, thanks you guys for being here. Pretty simple opening. We got a lot to prove, and I've been encouraged by the growth of the team, but none of it. I think every coach probably feels pretty good about their team right now. It's that time of year, so we got to prove it on game nights, and our first opportunity to prove it is Thursday night against an opponent that is picked to win their side of the division in the conference. Some really good returning players. I understand it's a level below, but they present some challenges. So we haven't proven anything yet, so we got to play well.
Questions, and if you could use the microphone.
Coach, I know this is a pretty standard question, but how are you feeling about this team in 2024 after all of fall camp?
It's a fun group to coach. They bought in since day one of the winter program, and then the new guys that came in May bought in quickly. There was a lot of, as I've said this offseason, there was some risk there with being that heavy in the May portal. But they bought in. They're fun to coach. They like each other. They do all the things we ask them to do, and because of that, they're a joy to coach. And I think every one of our coaches would say that. It's as much. There's an energy in the building because I think we all enjoy being around each other, and that's probably the best thing I can say to this point because we haven't proven anything on the field.
Coach, I feel like this year's running back room is one of the most exciting it's been in a while. Kind of just talk about those guys. And is this weekend or this Thursday a good opportunity to see maybe who will earn that 1 or 2 spot?
Yeah, we're really excited about this group. And they're no secret that, we have, I don't want to say 3, we have 5 really talented backs. I don't know if there will be a number 1 and a 2, to be honest with you. They have different skill sets, but all of them can do everything. And that's something you usually don't get with a full backfield is that guys can do a lot of different things. So helps with our versatility, helps with what we can do offensively. They're tough, they're smart, they're great teammates. They root for each other. It's an exciting part. Now, I think the danger there is you're like, oh, we're just going to be ground and pound. I've never been around an offense that's great, that's ground and pound. I think you have to be able to do everything offensively. But I do believe that Thursday night, one of the things you have to establish early in the season is the ability to run the ball and stop the run. So, we'll definitely try to run the football.
This is probably easier to answer 2 or 3 weeks into the season, but going into the season, where do you feel like you're better defensively than a year ago?
Number one, the 2 biggest things would be defensive line and safety position. It's defensive line. We've invested a lot into getting, developing and getting new defensive linemen. So it's a position that needs to play at a very high level for us to be successful, and they've had a very good camp. And then the safety position especially, more depth, better ability to fit what we want to do, system fit guys, versatility. So I think the more versatile your safeties are, the more you can do defensively. So we're really excited about those 2 levels. Now, I could say a lot of good things about the linebacker position. I think we're better everywhere, but those are the 2 that just jump out at you.
Hey, Coach. Lucas Gray, AL.com.
Yes, Lucas.
Completely blanked.
It's all right. I do it all the time when I'm trying to team, so don't worry about it.
First time. Some of the fans and media see what last year's team was, especially the defense, and they see you guys go out, completely rebuild the team, basically in the portal. And they see you guys bringing in seniors, juniors, and they just assume they're going to start. But do you think there's going to be a lot of surprises, if any, on that in terms of younger guys, freshmen, guys who were here last year?
Yeah, it's a great question, actually, Lucas. One of the things you try to do in the portal is obviously find players that can immediately contribute. You don't want to recruit a portal player and say, hey, you're going to come here to be depth. Now I think in the upper divisions they target that. They may not tell the players that, but we want to be authentic with what we tell the portal players. And every single one of them has had a chance to compete for a starting position, and a lot of them have won it. But the other thing you do when you bring in portal players is you light a fire under some younger players, and that definitely happened. So we have some younger players that felt like maybe they were trying to replace me that are like, well, look at me now. Like, you can't replace me. And that's what you're looking for. And Chris Bracey would be the one that jumps out the most, right? Like, Chris is a player that played well as a freshman, had a good spring, but has had a great summer so far. So now he's going to go prove that on Thursday night. But, yeah, I think when you go in the portal, there's a lot good about the portal, right? People talk bad things about the portal. There's a lot of good things about the portal if you handle it the right way. And I think we have handled it the right way. I think it's helped our football teams because we brought in players that can start or contribute, but we've also brought in players that have pushed younger players to chase their best.
Coach, throughout spring camp, you were mentioning about the need to improve on special teams. Maybe what have you seen from those specialists, and how's the perfect opportunity for Thursday?
That's another great question. To me, special teams, I think there's 3 key factors in special teams. Number one, is it important? And that's usually the job of the head football coach, to make sure they understand that it's it is truly a third of the game. And everybody says it, very few make it a third of their game. We devote more time to special teams than I've ever been around. I have purposely devoted extra time to teams. The second thing you need in teams, you need the right kind of athletes. You can have all the try-hards you want, and if you got a bunch of try-hard Johnnies running down trying to cover kicks, you ain't going to cover kicks. You need really long, athletic, spatially aware athletes playing on teams. We recruited those types of players, so we have the right kind of players. And then I think the third thing is pride, and it's different than it mattering, right? Things can matter, but you don't have pride in them. I think when a group has pride in something, special teams has pride in what they're doing, and you feel that sense of pride at practice, you have a chance to be good on special teams. And our guys have really, and that's the hardest period of the day. There's nobody that is on teams that wouldn't tell you that's the hardest period of the day. It's in the sun. We always do it outside, in the heat of the day. It's the most running. It's the most back-to-back running. It's the shortest rest intervals. And there's a lot of tactics of special teams. It's not like just, hey, run down and hit somebody. Like, there's a lot of things you're thinking about. So we've had all those things look really good on teams. We have good specialists. Our punter, I really believe is an NFL punter. So we'll be able to flip the field that way. The kicking competition has gone really well, especially the kickoff portion of it. Now we're able to boot the ball in the end zone and do things like that. So we're much improved on teams in practice. Again, we got to prove that we can be better on teams in the games.
Coach, a two-parter for me about Thursday night. We talked to you a few weeks ago. You talked about the importance of winning over this community. What is your message to the fans, one, and what have you done this year? I know you're the head coach, but you're also CEO, talking to different ways the tailgate is changing, and you're adding different stuff. So tell me about that process this year after a year under your belt and what you're trying to build down there.
Well, I think we definitely need a friendlier fan experience, right? And I think we've worked on that the best we can. I've said to the team day one, we got to earn the respect of this community, earn the commitment that it's going to take for a family to purchase tickets and come in that stadium and sacrifice their family time. You do that a couple ways. You do it by how you serve them in the community, and I've said this a million times, but I'll say it a million more, 2,500 hours of community service from our building, which I think is pretty remarkable. And then how you represent this community on and off the football field. So we need to play have a certain countenance to us, I think, not only just how we play, but how we play, if that makes any sense. Like, there's the play, the execution, but how you play, how you represent. Do you do it in a classy way? Can a 12-year-old look down there and be like, oh, I want to be like him? Because he not only plays well, but he acts like a pro, so to speak. So that's been the message. Again, we got to prove that we can do that starting Thursday night. But I think there's a lot of reasons that this community will want to come out and support us. You know, I don't expect them to until we give them that reason to want to, but I think they will want to.
I know the big emphasis during the offseason was getting offensive line better. Part of that is getting some guys healthy, but where are you at offensive line right now going into the season? And where do you what's the rotationally kind of how deep is it to feel comfortable in rotation?
I think we'd feel really good about playing 8 guys right now. You know, I think that we're close to feeling better about even more than that. But, you know, Zaire, being healthy has really helped. Quez has made massive improvements. Brady's as good a center as there is in our conference. And then getting the 2 tackles. You know, we went out and got 2 tackles. And it's hard to do, right? It's the most coveted position in the portal, even more than quarterback. Because you're going to read about, you know, the 10, 12, 14 quarterbacks, but there's a run on tackles in the portal that's amazing to watch happen on the wire. So to be able to end up with 2 of them that we feel are really good players allows now for some developmental guys that we really think highly of to continue to grow and earn time in the rotation. I think they have. So my guess is we'll play 8. We'll probably play 7 on Thursday night. Possibly 8, and we feel good about those guys that'll be in there, and there's some others that are very close.
You and Alex have built one of the best offenses in the country, very creative. Do you take any inspiration from any former coaches, maybe from your NFL days or Elite 11?
Yeah.
And are you guys looking to implement even more creative stuff going forward?
To answer the first part, yes. I learned a lot. I'd say people ask me all the time who inspired me the most. From a teaching standpoint, Holmgren. From a run game, play action, Norv Turner. And then really where I got my most creative was studying the game when I was at ESPN, because I was studying all 3 levels. I was doing Elite 11, so I was studying high school. I can't tell you how much cool stuff I found in high school. And then I would watch you get to college, and I'd watch you get to the pros. And I would say on TV, you know, this concept that you're so excited that Andy Reid is running, I saw that 4 years ago in Texas high school football. Like, the game has evolved from the bottom up, from a schematical standpoint. You see the best stuff at the high school level. So I got to see the high school level, I got to see the college game, I got to see the program game. So I was studying a lot of different offenses. Alex has an incredible pedigree, who he coached with. His input into that Alabama offense. His year at Highlands is one of his greatest creative processes because he had to do it differently. So, yeah, we have a lot we draw from. And then again, we have others now. Alex and I get a lot of credit for this, and we lean heavily on others on the staff, too. So, I mean, Nick Holman, Danny Mitchell, I can go on and on. We have really good offensive coaches. More this year, I mean, yeah, we're always trying to find the best ways of getting our best players the ball. You know, I don't try to sound Belichickian here and not answer the question, but I'm also not going to answer the question. Like, we spend countless hours trying to find the best ways to get our best players the ball the most ways possible. So hopefully you'll see a lot of that this year. If people call it innovative, great. We just want it to be successful.
Looking to Alcorn State too, what do they show maybe on offense and defense, and just kind of the scouting report on them?
So their quarterback's a heck of a player. We coached the quarterback at Elite 11. He's one of the favorite kids I ever coached. Mentally, physically, super tough, an incredible athlete, very talented, very smart. So he's a challenge. They have a couple skill position guys on their offense that can give you some matchup problems if you're not careful. High weight speed guys that can play inside and outside. And defensively, their scheme's a challenge. Their defensive coordinator is kind of a mad scientist, and that's a compliment. You know, he knows what he has, and he keeps you eating your soup left-handed. You know, like you never really know what's coming. Have you ever tried to eat your soup left-handed? There's actually a better term than that, but it's not appropriate. But if you ever try to eat your soup left-handed, it's very hard, right, if you're right-handed. And that's kind of what he tries to do to you offensively. He wants to take you out of your game and make you uncomfortable a lot. So a lot's gone into this week. This was a week that, someone, you got an FCS opponent week 1. We're sitting there watching the film going, oh my goodness, what a way to start, just because of schematical challenges. So we're pretty tired because we've been up to the wee hours trying to find answers for our kids. And that's a credit to Alcorn State. I think anytime an opposing staff can ruin the other staff's week, they're a pretty good staff.
It seems like you spent some time, really since the spring and in fall camp, of kind of getting some guys to game day, whether you didn't practice much in the spring, whether it be soft tissue type stuff. Did you do a little more of that during this time, and how do you feel about your health going in?
Yeah, one of the things I had to grow as a coach was, I came from a certain mentality that I still believe in, by the way. I'm going kind of against my core beliefs on some things. But I think it's wise to do so. I think you have to change some of your core beliefs based on the type of team you have. You can't coach every team the same. You can't parent every kid the same, right? My wife had to teach me that one. I had this cookie cutter way of parenting the girls when they were younger. And my wife sat me down, she's like, their personalities are totally different. This one listens to you and this one doesn't. And she had to coach me up on every kid's unique with how you coach them and communicate with them. Teams are the same way. I think this team, when I realized, especially when we went all in on the May deal and took some chances there, I had to really sit back and be like, okay, there's got to be the right way to coach this team. It may not be my way. And I sought counsel. I thought hard about it. I really talked to some coaches about it. And one of the things was we have some guys with some mileage on them. Once they prove that they are tough guys and will play hard, which they prove very quickly, then you have to protect them from themselves to a certain degree. And that's really all I've tried to do is protect the players that have mileage on their tires but need protecting from themselves. For instance, Isaiah Jacobs, right? The guy would go run through anything you asked him to run through, whether his knee was healthy or not, right? So to hold him off a little bit. LD Cox, same way. OC Brothers, same way. Caleb Perez, you guys don't even know about yet, but you will, same way. They have such great competitive temperaments. They have the physical traits to do it. They're like, let's go. I want to compete. I want to be part of my team. I don't want to see my teammates out there going through the hard stuff and I'm not. And you're like, whoa. You'll have a chance to do that once you're healthy or once you've built up your game tolerance. And also look at this date as the date, not beginning of training camp. I think a mistake I've made before is you go into the first thing you're doing, spring ball, training camp, you're like, okay, this is the most important moment, when really it's not. The most important moment is the football game that you're getting ready for 5 weeks from then. So I've had to look at it that way. I think we've done a good job with it. I think every team's a little nicked up right now. We're a little nicked up, but nothing concerning. So I think the plan has worked to this point.
Anything else?
All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you.